the Executive Director of the Office of Police Accountability, and I'll be your moderator for this evening. This town hall is part of our annual budget town hall series, and it's your opportunity to let the county leaders know what you and your communities think should be funded in the county's FY27 budget. This evening, we will hear opening remarks from your District 2 County Council Member Allison Pickard, then County Executive Pittman, and Stephen Theroux from our budget office will share a presentation about the county's budget process and the outlook for the FY27 budget. After the presentation, we will open the floor for public testimony, and you will get the chance to share your budget requests. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce the other elected officials that we have in the audience tonight. And I have a Delegate Mark Chang. Welcome, and thank you. I'd also like to introduce our department directors who are here this evening. I have Carissa Kelly from Aging and Disabilities. Welcome, thank you. And I have Claudia Roll from Animal Services. Welcome, and thank you. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Councilmember Allison Pickard.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Allison Pickard, your District 2 representative on the County Council. And thank you so much for joining us tonight as we begin our discussions regarding the FY27 budget. The County Executive and I were elected in 2018, and I am proud of the collaborative work that has gone into all of our previous budgets. This partnership has positioned our county on solid financial footing, allowing us to achieve AAA ratings from all three bond agencies. By prioritizing our rainy day fund, we have made prudent decisions to protect our residents from future economic downturns while continuing to invest heavily in our public safety, education, and essential county services. We've come a long way with our investments in teachers, in school construction, public safety personnel and equipment, and yet we know we still have more work to do. Decisions made during the current state legislative session will impact county finances and our budget, so I am keeping an eye on the current climate in the state. My focus remains on fulfilling the core responsibilities of local government to ensure we are meeting your needs effectively. I'm also extremely proud of the intentional investments that we have made in this community. District 2 had been underserved prior to 2018. Since then, we've had success not only with personnel and staffing that support the entire county, but with capital projects that support this community. We're nearing the completion of the Old Mill Master Plan, which gave us this beautiful new high school we're in tonight, and an additional brand new Old Mill High School across the way, 2 new middle schools, 3 renovated and modernized elementary schools, and a state-of-the-art Career and Applied Technology Center North. The design is also underway for a 30-acre expansion at Severn Danza Park, as well as the design of a new Marley Creek Regional Park. Our beloved Glen Burnie Library has outgrown its current building, and we're currently underway with a design-build contract for a brand new 2-story building that will also house a dedicated cultural resource center. Your input is vital to this process. I look forward to hearing about your priorities for this year's budget. And without further ado, we turn it over to the County Executive. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you again, Councilmember Pickard. And now I'd like to introduce County Executive Stuart Pittman.
Don't have a lot to say here at the outset other than thank you for being here. We have tomorrow night will be the 7th of 7 districts, and then we've got our Spanish version of this coming up next week, I believe, or later this week. I don't even know. But that's coming up soon, and that's virtual. So if you speak Spanish, join us for that one as well. But I want to comment just on the storm and the ice and the snow and the roads and the schools and all of that. Just to say that, you know, when we come to these, we have some department heads who are here. The department heads who are here are part of our emergency operations center during any crisis like that. Believe it or not, even animal services is part of the EOC. And Department of Aging and Disabilities has a huge role to play. And we do not have Karen Henry here from the Department of Public Works. She has been at most of these taking notes. But she is not, is she here? No, you're not here. No, she's not here. If she were, I would probably ask for a standing ovation. I don't know if all of you would join me or not. It depends on the condition of your roads, probably. But the amount of work that she has done coordinating an effort that, well, I mean, what would have been 20 inches of snow was 3 to 5 inches of ice, and we all know what that means. And the fact that the machines that we have, the plows, don't do ice. You have to get the heavy construction equipment. And I get to hear a lot of stories that most of the public doesn't get to hear about people who had an emergency and somebody helped them in that emergency. I get to hear about the firefighters that go out and shovel people's walks so that they can get to their medical appointments. And I get to hear about you know, the special school that nobody realized that the road was actually not open, and Sunday night before schools were going to open on Monday morning, and how the crew was out there most of the night with the machines digging the ice. And it's a pretty extraordinary thing and a wonderful thing to watch the Emergency Operations Center and all of the agencies working in a situation like that. And I just want to thank them all. And for those of you who have had a situation on your road where you couldn't get out, or you couldn't get out for a long time, or obviously you're here so you could get out, but or you shoveled the sidewalk and then a plow came and dumped snow all over the sidewalk, and you either had to go back and do it again or you just gave up. I know that is extremely frustrating, so thank you. I'm sorry if it's been difficult for you, and we are thinking about how we can do things better if this happens again. But I really want to thank the agencies. The only other thing, I want to read a brief statement, but there's one other thing I want to say, which is people who come to these sorts of events and advocate for their communities. Sometimes it's for a project, sometimes it's for something big, something small. I want to just tell you a quick story of a woman named Glenda Gathers. We call her Ms. G. She, for, I'm told, about 35 years, advocated to get a community center built, which now exists. Some of you know it. It's not in this district, but it's close to Severance Center. And she was told over and over again, administration after administration, things like, we don't do community centers, or we'll do it, hey, let's make a health clinic next to the school, and then the organization that goes out of business that's going to do the health clinic. Over and over, there were promises made and not kept. She made a plan for the community center with a marker and a ruler, with a basketball court and all the different services. And I had that plan duct taped to my office door for the years that it took to build, and then brought it to the actual ground, the ribbon cutting when they opened. She did her job, and she died this morning. She passed on. I mean, most of us who knew her know that she usually had an oxygen tank with her, and her family was there. I got to talk to her on the phone a couple days ago, and just thank her for advocating for her community. So think of Glenda Gathers as you advocate for whatever it is that you're advocating for, and hopefully it won't take you 35 years to get it done, but keep on going. So quickly, just a statement which is up here, and I've been reading this at all of the budget town halls because I feel strongly about it. Budgets are a statement of values and strategy. The 7 that came before this one in our administration demonstrate a belief that government matters. Our schools, our public safety, our environment, our health, and the people who live here all benefit when we invest in effective government. This is the last budget that I will present as county executive, and my commitment is to remain fiscally disciplined, to continue seeking the wisdom of our residents, and to prioritize opportunities for those among us who have too often been left behind. We We enter this process with the highest bond ratings, the highest reserves, the greatest infrastructure investments, and the strongest workforce this county's ever had. This final budget must leave for the next administration a house in good order. And I also want to acknowledge the partnership with Councilwoman Pickard for the last 7 years. And I remember when I was a candidate and she drove me around Glen Burnie and told me all the things that needed to get done. And she's still telling me the things that need to get done in Glen Burnie. But I think we've made great progress together, so thank you.
Thank you, County Executive Pittman. Now we'll hear from Stephen Theroux, and he will present a slideshow. Thank you.
Good evening. I know most of you are used to seeing Chris Strumbauer give this presentation, the friendly neighborhood budget officer. Unfortunately for you, I am the less friendly assistant budget officer. All right, so we're going to start through, just look through what the budget process actually looks like. So if you look at the blue squares up on the screen, that is with the executive branch. And where we are right now is that top right-hand corner. So the budget office just recently received recommendations from our county departments. So we're doing our internal reviews. Then all of those departments will meet with the county executive and go through kind of what they would like to see funded in the budget, along with the budget office giving their recommendations. Eventually, you make it to that green box where we do a transition from the executive branch over to the legislative branch, and then it is in the hands of the county council and the auditor's office. So that's kind of where we are today. What that does mean is that we still have a lot of time to add things to the budget and theoretically subtract them as well. But that means all of your ideas that are still being shared today still have a chance to make it into the process. So next slide is we're going to talk about kind of where our money comes from. And so you'll see two very big portions of that pie chart, our property tax and our income tax. That represents about 75% of the income that comes in through the county. Recreation and transfer tax is a slightly smaller sliver, but probably the largest one. And then fund balance is actually 7.3%, but that is really used for one-time items and to fuel our capital budget. So that's where our money comes from. Let's talk about where the money goes. So about half of our budget goes to the Anne Arundel County Board of Education. About 21% goes to the public safety organizations, and about 15% is for general government operations, like my very fun and exciting budget office. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what's actually in the budget itself for this year. I think the county executive and the county council was pretty proud of the budget that they put forward. We were able to reduce our property tax by 6 cents and kept our income tax unchanged. That means our tax rates actually went down a little bit. We maxed out the rainy day fund, and what that means for our bond rating agencies is we were able to keep our AAA bond rating, which decreases the cost of borrowing. We extended a lot of the programs that were funded under the ARPA funding or the federal funding that came through, because those were just valued important assets there. We invested a record $52 million of funding into the Board of Education. We created 14 new public safety positions, and as I mentioned already, we maintain our AAA bond rating. So now a fun slide is kind of how do we compare against our peers. So what you'll see here is Anne Arundel County is the gold bar on that chart right there. And you can see we're pretty far to the right. That means that everybody to the left there pays more in property tax than we do. If you notice one thing is that everybody to the right of us are much more rural counties than we are. Everybody to the left, most of the big, more jurisdictions that we think about in Central Maryland are to the left and been paying a whole lot more. So you think Baltimore City, Prince George's County, Howard County, Montgomery County, all of the big counties are over to the left side, so we fare pretty well. And on income tax, we actually fare even better. So you can see we are the 5th lowest rate in income tax. We actually are only one of a few jurisdictions that took advantage of the progressive income tax jurisdictions that was actually passed through the state legislature not many years ago. So we were in a place that we were able to take care of that. So what that means is you don't pay necessarily a flat income tax rate, so it depends on where your income levels are. Our top earners are only for those making over $400,000, so you can kind of take an eye on that. But our income tax rate and our property tax are low compared to most of the other jurisdictions. The next slide is going to look at the Revenue Reserve Fund. And so what this is I talked about with the bond ratings agencies love that, because this is where we're going to tap into if things do take a financial downturn. So you can see back in the Great Recession that happened there, we did take a blip of generating about $30 million or so that we had to tap into that reserve. and that meant we didn't have to furlough employees as much as we had to, or could have had to, or cut positions. And so we're in a very good financial place right now if we do have an economic downturn, which will come, we just don't know exactly when. Next slide, we're going to talk about progress over the last 7 years. So as County Executive Pittman mentioned, this is his last budget address, so let's look back and thank some of our partners that have allowed that progress to happen. So county council members, like Councilwoman Pickard, have helped, pass the budgets that have passed every year. The county workforce is, getting day-to-day things done on the ground. County department heads, some of which are here. And then, unlike a lot of other jurisdictions, we have a very good relationship with our Board of Education. I can tell you on the staff level, I'm in constant communication with staff level over at the financial side of the Board of Education, and not many jurisdictions have that same two-way communication, which allows for a great partnership. The next investment that the county executive has and this council has put in is public safety. So public safety salaries have increased by an average of almost 44% over this county executive. We've also filled about 164 positions. That means there's more bodies in there. And while vacancies and filled positions aren't where we want them to be, we have made significant progress in that. And I would like to think that a lot of it is because of how much money we've invested in those public safety salaries. Who knows where they would be without those investments. So now we're going to look at the public schools. So as I said, about half of our budget does go to the public schools. And in the county, since the county executive has taken office, almost $300 million incrementally has gotten added to those schools, or 43%. And you might say that's a lot of money. What have we gotten for it? So chronic absenteeism has actually gone down more than 5 points. ACPS now has 15 five-star schools, and more than half of our schools are 4 stars or higher. Teacher starting salary was 19th. We are now 4th. That's a huge jump. And retention and vacancies have plummeted. As you will see on the next slide, teacher vacancies were almost 300 just a few short years ago. Now we're at 32, about 0.5%. That's actually lower than a lot of the county departments right now with their vacancy rate. So school systems have a lot. Even better story maybe is on bus drivers. So a few years ago, I know it was really hard. I've got kids in school just to make sure that the buses were coming on time. The last 2 years, we've actually had 0 bus driver vacancies, and a lot of that is due to our investments in the public school system. So now looking forward at fiscal year 27, the budget that you're all advocating for, what does it look like? Well, the good news is you just throw a dartboard, and that's kind of how we set our budget for next year, so we don't really have to worry too much about it. But in reality, our revenue picture, property tax does remain stable with some modest growth there. Income tax is slower due to the weakening job market, so we do still have increases in income tax, but it is slowing down a little bit. Recordation and transfer, what I talked about earlier, is about 5% of our revenue source, and that is remaining flat, and that's really due to the high interest environment. On the expenditure side, I talked about investing in public safety salaries. We've invested in a lot of our public sector salaries, but that comes with the tail end of pension costs. So pension costs are going up. Debt service, we've had a huge influx on the capital budget. Well, debt service is going to come due. We've got operating costs from those capital projects as well. So when a park comes online, we've got to have staff to operate those parks. When a new building comes online, we've got to put staff in those buildings to operate those. And then there are some external factors. So we've heard about the federal government defunding some programs. School enrollment on our counties is actually kind of going down or slowing down. And what that means is that the state isn't going to give us much funding. So you'll see in a little bit the state funding for schools is going way down, and it's a pretty big problem because then it falls back on the county. And in addition to just the Board of Education funding, the state budget deficit that has happened in the last couple of years isn't really going anywhere. And so last year we had about $12 million that got pushed to the local jurisdictions on behalf of the state's cost shares, and we're kind of expecting some of that to continue. So then on the next slide, we're going to sit down and pretend like we're the county executive, and in the next couple of months, we're going to sit down and present them something that looks very much like this. So first, we're going to start at the very top, incremental revenue. It might be hard to see, but this is $120 million. That's a really good incremental revenue year. That's a lot of money. So where is it going to go to? Well, the first thing is kind of non-discretionary. So I talked about debt service, I talked about pension, I talked about pay packages, I talked about our self-insurance fund. All of that, roughly $40 million. So let's take that off. Next thing is our pay packages for our bargaining units and of our non-rep employees. Last year that cost about $21 million. We're still in negotiation season. Let's just say it's up another $20 million. So now we're at $60 million. Half of it's gone. That's not so bad. 60 million seems pretty good to me. Well, let's just take the Board of Education, because that hasn't come into play at all. The Board of Education superintendent's request was $100 million from the county. We only have $60 million to do everything else, including anything anybody brings up here. So that's new firefighters, that's new police officers, that's any new funding that has to get added to the budget. That's got to come out of that same $60 million. The same thing with our department heads. They're going to bring forward some really great requests that everybody wants to fund too. But that comes out of that same $60 million again. So bottom line is there's going to be a lot of really great ideas, and my job in the budget office is to tell the county executive we probably can't fund them all, as great as those ideas are. Looking forward, I think there's some additional information that you all can find out on Open Arundel. Budget Buddy is a really great tool that was really built a few years ago. The budget office page is up there. You can look at all the historical budgets and kind of look at the actual budget books. And finally, your budget, you'll be able to see this presentation and some other resources as well. And finally, if you didn't speak tonight, or if you got friends that want to speak tonight, or if you just have some more, you're moved and you want to give us some more information, there is an email. They're all read, they're all categorized, and we will look at that. And I can tell you firsthand, sitting on the staff side of the budget office, that a lot of ideas that have come from these town halls the last few years have made it into the budget. And so your voices are heard. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the main part of the event, public testimony. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Now it's time for the public testimony portion of the evening, where we get the chance to hear from you. This is your chance to let the county leaders know what you would like funded in the FY27 budget. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to give their testimony. You will see a timer on the screen to help keep track of time. For the sake of time, the county executive and council member won't respond to every comment, but they're listening and taking notes. I will begin by calling the names of the people who signed up to speak when they checked in this evening, starting with the residents of District 2, and then followed by everyone else who signed up to speak. I will call a few names at a time, and when I call your name, please line up by the microphone here. After we've gotten through the list of people who signed up to speak, we will open the floor for anyone else who would like to share their budget requests. If we don't have time tonight to hear from you, or you think of something else that you would like to share, please email your request to budget-comments@aacounty.org. Again, budget-comments@aacounty.org. I will now call on several of you to line up behind the microphone in order to speak. Furthermore, please speak directly into the mic so that everyone can hear you clearly, and please state your name before you begin. Give me a moment to pull the list up. All right, so we have Jessa Coulter, Ronald Rose, Barbie Calder. And please remember to say your name, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jessa Coulter. I'm a resident of District 2, and I'm the Executive Director of Annapolis Immigration Justice Network. I want to thank you, County Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Pickard, for your commitment to supporting immigrants in Anne Arundel County and for the ways you have stood up for our immigrant neighbors. I'm here tonight to urge you to continue your support through funding of both the legal and wraparound services for immigrant youth through the Partnership for Children, Youth, and Families, as well as the Family Protection Initiative. AIJN's mission is to make sure our immigrant neighbors have access to attorneys. With the complexity and chaos of the immigration system and the absence of long-term detention in Maryland, legal representation is essential. This reality is clear for one of AIJN's clients who is currently being detained. When he was first separated from his pregnant wife and their son, he was forced to go 15 days without a shower. He had to sleep on the floor and he was given minimal food. Then for a full week, this man was disappeared. His family couldn't get in touch with him. There was no record of him on the online locator system, and no one in the government could confirm his whereabouts. His wife told us he was lost. We were so afraid. He is now back in touch with his family, but there is still no record of his location. The only chance he has now is by having an attorney. And because of AIJN's work and funding from the Family Protection Initiative, he has that chance. He has an attorney fighting to uphold his constitutionally protected right to due process. The investments the county has made in supporting immigrants makes our community safer and stronger, and they help ensure our rights are upheld. I cannot tell you how important that is right now. Thank you for your consideration of continued funding for these critical programs for fiscal year 27.
Good evening, Mr. Picard, Ms. Picard, and Mr. Pittman. My name is Ronald Wells. I'm here representing seniors as well as the Pasco Senior Center and the PSI, a fundraising entity for that group. I am very concerned about seniors. I appreciate your budget presentation. It looks like you've done a miraculous job holding the budget at a time like this. I just would like to remind you that many of the seniors are living on Social Security. That averages about $2,000 a month. When you're paying for housing, food, medical expenses, and utilities, that doesn't go very far. In fact, some of them I know have a difficult time getting food. Among other things, we depend very heavily on the senior activity centers that you have in the county. They've done an excellent job trying to provide services and features for us that are very critical, that are very important to us in a lot of ways, including medical, social, and physical expertise, help. Aside from that, as I said, we've raised a lot of money for the senior center, not enough. Our Pasco Center, as you know, probably you have 7 other senior centers. They've all been properly rehabbed, they've been upgraded. Pasco has been ignored in all of that. We have not had it. Pasco happens to be ranked as the oldest one. It's almost 50 years old. They desperately need rehab. Since I've been going there over 15 years, I've watched the roof leak every time I've gone there in a heavy rain. We have buckets to do that. We need better than buckets. We have electrical system outages. We have an HVAC system and a security system that doesn't work. We have recently acquired half of our chairs being replaced. The other half are sitting there, and if you come in November, you'll find out they're urine stained. They have stains of other sort. They stink. We need more money in order to bring that facility up to a usable facility you can be proud of. We lack space. We could use more classrooms. We have a fitness room that's half the size it should be, and we have a problem with storage. We have to go outside, down a narrow staircase in any kind of weather, and at Christmas time it's very difficult carrying boxes up there, especially our volunteers that are 70 or 80 years old. So, I'm sorry I took too much time. I apologize for that, but I'll be glad if you would like to contact me. I can leave notes, and I'd be glad to provide more information and elaborate on any of these issues. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Barbie Calder. I am a resident of District 2, and I am the newest member of the Library Board of Trustees. I want to thank you, County Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Picard, for your continued support of our public libraries and for your commitment to building a new Glenbury Library on our current site. District 2 residents are excited about this investment, and we deeply appreciate your leadership in ensuring that our community will have a modern, accessible library that reflects how people use libraries today. I'm here tonight to advocate for the library's supplemental budget request, specifically honoring the library's first collective bargaining agreement, which I was very proud to vote of, my first vote as a trustee, and fund mission-critical back-of-house positions. Public libraries are essential community infrastructure. Every day they provide access to technology, education, workforce development, and safe, welcoming spaces for all. And to be clear, safe, welcoming spaces are essential infrastructure right now. AACPL fulfills its mission to build stronger communities through efficient, high-impact services that reach residents where they are. And demand continues to grow. Over the past 4 years, library visits have increased nearly 30%, and circulation is up 17%. Meeting that demand requires both responsible stewardship and the right staffing, including some of the Glenbury staff who are here today. Thank you. The library consistently operates efficiently through shared systems, partnerships, and useful use of public funds. But efficiency depends on having core operational staff in place. Positions in material management, human resources, and maintenance ensure that books move quickly to shelves, staff are supported and retained, and facilities remain safe and functional. We respectfully ask for the approval of 3% merit increase and cost of living adjustments in the collective bargaining agreement, recognizing the staff who make these efficiencies possible. Thank you so much for your time and continued support. Thank you. Next, we'll have Gertrude Daly, Tracy Telfer, Marla Sullivan.
I have permission to sit. Okay. Good evening. My name is Gertrude Daly, and I am the director of the food pantry at Metropolitan United Methodist Church, which is 548 Queenstown Road in Severn, Maryland. I want to thank County Executive Stuart Pittman and Councilwoman Allison Pickard for the opportunity to share in input about the FY27 budget. Our pantry has been a partner with the Anne Arundel County Food Bank since 2014 and serves from 55 to 60 families each month. The pantry touches the lives of children, teenagers, adults, and seniors of different ethnic groups and backgrounds. When the United States government shut down on October 1st, 2025, many programs came to a halt, which put a strain on household budgets all over this nation. Our neighbors had to make some difficult choices between paying bills, buying medicine, or buying food. Our neighbors experienced foreclosures, loss of vehicles. They experienced the unhoused population grew, and the food pantry lines became longer. Our congregants and the food pantry team at Metropolitan believes that no one should go hungry. Everyone deserves to eat. We believe that food can save spirit, dignity, and lives. No, not true. On one distribution day, a young lady was in line. She happened to be a mother and said to me, "I know you. Do you remember me?" At that moment, I did not remember her. She told me that she had been incarcerated and I had visited the female inmates with the program I shared with them each month. She was happy to see the free food was available. On that day, she was passing by and saw the signs on the lawn and the cars in line. She said that she was grateful that people cared. I feel that we must rise up against hunger, strengthen our food pantries in these turbulent times so our neighbors can be fed, loved, and encouraged. I want to thank you, Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Pickard, for your support of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. I ask you respectively to invest county resources where they can make the greatest impact, the immediate impact in our community, providing $2 million in funding for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank in the fiscal year 2027 budget. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening, County Executive Pittman, Council Member Picard. My name is Tracy Telfer. I'm with Animal Services. You've heard this at Arundel High School, but Ms. Picard has not. Have you ever gotten up and had one of those days? Nothing's going right. You get your mail, you get your BG&E bill, you kind of freak out because it's a lot higher, but to deal with it, just having one of those days where somebody, just that one little thing sets you off and you act out of character. Well, our dogs have those days. It is so noisy in the shelter. that they don't get a good night's sleep. It's constant barking. And the poor cats on the other side of the wall, they're not immune to it. They're hearing it. They're stressed. We need a new shelter. Our shelter is not designed for these animals. It breaks my heart to see these dogs. They become like locked in or shut down. We try medicating them, hoping that would break them out of their depression, because that's basically what they're struggling with, is depression. And their only chance to get out of that environment is the staff and the volunteers that take them out 2-3 times a day, but that's it. They can't get away from it. Our shelter is just not designed to house these animals. The noise level is horrible. And with the police department taking over a lot of our property, we have nowhere safe to walk our dogs. Our pens are cramped now. We're now forced to kind of walk down the street. We call it Fire Department Hill. It's just not a good situation for us, whether it be the animals or the volunteers walking those dogs. Our path is gone. It's just, everything keeps being taken away from us. We need your help. We need a new facility. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Marla Sullivan. I'm a project coordinator for Hope for All. As you know, according to Poverty Amidst Plenty, more than 36,000 people in Anne Arundel County live below the federal poverty line, and more than 220,000 working households do not make enough money to cover all of their basic expenses. In FY25, our Turning Houses into Homes program, which, as you know, delivers household goods, beds, furniture, clothing, all kinds of household items to our families in need, and people coming out of homelessness and other crisis situations, we served 441 families. 48% of those families were referred to us by Anne Arundel County government agencies. It costs us approximately $1,000 per family to deliver all of those goods to them in program expenses. This equates to over $200,000 just for the families that were referred to us from Anne Arundel County agencies. In FY25, our clothing programs, which serves all of the public schools in Anne Arundel County and many other homeless individuals and people in crisis within the county, we served 1,350 individuals. That was an 87% increase in 3 years. 82% of the referrals came from Anne Arundel County government agencies. We spent over $50,000 just to keep up with that demand, especially on certain sizes and children. These clothing programs were not supported by any county funds at all. We have been doing our best to keep up with the increase. We've released additional space. We're growing our volunteer capacities, increasing the amount of physical donations coming in the door, but we can't do it alone. We are working hard to meet the county's ongoing requests for our support for all of Anne Arundel County, and we hope that you will bring balance to our partnership and help increase funding to Hope for All in the coming year. I thank you very much both for your time.
Thank you. Next we'll have Heather Pallett, Brittany Wellington, and Amanda Goldner.
Hi, my name is Heather Pallett, and I want to start by tying this back to the intro and say that I agree that government is meant to help people. So feel free to raise my taxes to help people. I have 3 items, so I'll try to get through them quickly. I just want to start with the one that I see as the most morally urgent, which is protecting our immigrant neighbors. I know immigration is mostly federal and state, but the county still has tools like the funding legal support that was mentioned earlier. And so I think that's very important. And as a side note, I have coworkers right now who are U.S. citizens who carry their passports with them because they're afraid of ICE and they're afraid of being detained for days. So it's just a very important topic, and I do feel like history is going to judge us by what we do and don't do in this moment. My second topic relates to how a lot of people don't engage in politics because they don't see how it directly affects them. So to help people see a direct cause and effect, I'd like the county to look into piloting a participatory budgeting program. This would allow residents, rather than just county officials, to directly propose and vote on how to spend a specific portion of the county budget. Finally, I would like to ask that you fully fund the public campaign financing system. We have to get money out of politics and allow people who don't have rich friends to run and compete for public office. Also, I know the Anne Arundel County Food Bank is asking for $2 million, so I just wanted to say I support that as well. And I just want to thank you, Mr. Pittman, for everything you've done. I've watched you over the years, and you've kind of helped educate me on how county politics works, and so I appreciate that, and I hope your successor continues your progress.
Hi, thank you for listening to all of our testimonies this evening. My name is Brittany Wellington. I'm a fifth-year music education teacher at Glendale Elementary, so like 10 minutes from here. I'm here to advocate for fully funding Dr. Bedell's budget. I know half the budget already goes towards education, but education is training kids to be the future of the country. And one of the most important impacts the budget will have is sustaining the public education profession, specifically through our special ed teachers. At my school specifically, our SPED teachers are so overworked and understaffed that during my own planning time, when my part-time teacher is teaching, I have to sit with the special ed kids to make sure that she can actually teach. So those kids are not being dangerous, hurting other kids. They don't have control over their bodies. They're not screaming their heads off, throwing things. Sometimes we do have two or three adults come in at the same time to deal with these 6 students in this one class who all have IEPs, who all desperately need one-on-one adult attention, which is not allowed. One-on-one attention it's not allowed in their IEP. But they need to have it because that's the only way they can function. We need more staffing to support these students so that not only our main special ed teachers can efficiently do their work, but also the teachers like myself, classroom teachers don't have to take time out of their own planning to sit with these kids and make sure they are safe and being respectful and not hurting other students. We teachers are developing the future with these students in our classrooms. Allowing us to continue teaching in mediocrity shows a lack of respect not only for teachers but for those students as well. By fully funding Dr. Bedell's budget, our essential special educators will be able to do their jobs more efficiently and allow every single student to grow, belong, and succeed. And thank you again for all the work that you have done with our education budget. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you, County Executive and Councilwoman Picard, for the opportunity to share input. My name is Amanda Gomer. I'm a resident of District 2, and I'm the Development Director for Love Wins Movement, a nonprofit for-impact organization based in Severn, and the Missions Coordinator at the Church at Severn Run. I am here tonight also to respectfully ask that you include the $2 million in financial support for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank in this year's fiscal budget. One of Love Wins Movement's primary community impact areas is addressing food insecurity through our Love Wins Pantry and Marketplace. As the largest partner of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank, I can say without hesitation that their impact on our community cannot be understated. Together, we provide dignified support designed to meet neighbors where they are. Currently, we serve more than 700 families each week, over 2,500 individuals, 49 weeks a year, about 10,000 people every month, an average of 175 weekly through distribution alone to individuals who otherwise couldn't access pantry support. Many are referred through the schools, nonprofits, health departments, social services, and crisis response teams. When we meet an immediate food need and offer continued support and friendship, it's not just a success for Love Wins or for the food bank. It's proof that Anne Arundel County cares about every one of its neighbors. Most of our families that we serve are hardworking community members with jobs and families who simply have too much month left at the end of their money. Many of the families fall into the Alice population, people working so hard to make ends meet, but simply are unable to do so. This work is only made possible because of our partnership with the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. By providing quality meats, dairy, produce, and shelf-stable items, they make us able to serve people with dignity. As food insecurity continues to rise, we are now serving over 75 more families each week than this time last year. The ripple effect of failing to adequately fund the Anne Arundel County Food Bank would be enormous and felt across this county. So in conclusion, I want to thank you for your previous support and ask again that you respectfully invest our community resources where it can make the greatest tangible impact by supporting the Anne Arundel County Food Bank.
Thank you. We'll next hear from Amanda Fields, Betsy Bender, Joanne Bond.
Good evening. Thank you, County Executive and Council Member Pickard, for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Amanda Fields, and I am here both as a resident of this district and the Events and Volunteer Manager with the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. I'm asking you to include $2 million in funding for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank in the FY27 county budget. I've worked with the food bank and its mobile pantry program for almost 2 years. What I see week after week is striking. The need is growing, not shrinking. I can't just pick one moment that sticks with me. There have been countless neighbors who have shared their stories that they or their spouses recently lost their jobs and they were unsure how they would get by. Their eyes lighting up when they see the shelves stocked of the mobile pantry with fresh produce. The neighbors who saw the seemingly endless line say, "I'll leave that for someone else," and only taking what they and their family absolutely needed. The volunteers who were furloughed or their positions in limbo, wanting to find some way to give back and support those who needed assistance even more than themselves. The volunteers who are almost in tears hearing the heartbreaking stories of grandparents raising grandchildren on a fixed income. It's a reminder that food insecurity doesn't look like one thing, it's happening right here in our community. The Anne Arundel County Food Bank is a lifeline. This fiscal year alone, it has reached an average of about 52,000 people each month, providing food and basic necessities. Last year, working with 77 partners, the food bank distributed over 4.3 million pounds of food. And to put that into perspective, it's about 165 school buses. Right now, over 66,000 county residents, more than 11% of our population, are food insecure. And many don't qualify for SNAP despite needing help. With inflation rising, healthcare costs, and cuts to the federal food programs, demand is continuing to rise. I want to thank you for your prior support, including the $1.5 million for this year's budget. That investment matters, but it's no longer enough to keep pace with the need. I respectfully ask you to invest where our county dollars can make the most immediate measurable impact by committing $2 million to the Anne Arundel County Food Bank in the FY 2027 budget. Thank you for your leadership, your past support, and the opportunity to speak tonight.
Good evening. My name is Betsy Bender, and I'm on the board of the County Library Foundation. I was inspired to serve because as a lifelong resident of the county, I've personally benefited from the library's role in building stronger communities. While I don't live in this district, I am the foundation's liaison for the Glen Burnie branch. It was my first library as a child, and I'm a proud graduate of its 1970 summer reading program. I'm voluntarily dating myself to reinforce the lifelong impact the library has on county residents. Thank you, Councilmember Pickard and County Executive Pittman, for your support of the library's budget requests in the past. Whatever people think libraries are, they're more. A few of my favorite things: free access to technology and resources and countless support for lifelong learning, resume assistance, 24/7 online tutoring, Chromebooks and Wi-Fi hotspots, on-site social workers, grant databases, and so much more. I spent my career in the business world and can confidently say that libraries deliver an exceptional return on investment. They stretch every dollar through partnerships and shared resources while supporting education, workforce development, and public health outcomes. As in business, the success of our libraries is due to our exceptional staff. Their expertise, dedication, and compassion ensure programs and services are delivered well and to the people who need them most. That's why we respectfully ask for approval of the 3% merit increase and cost of living adjustment outlined in the library's first collective bargaining agreement
and funding for critical operational positions. Honoring the agreement affirms the county's commitment to its workforce, and the additional positions help us meet the growing demand for library services. Supporting libraries and the people who power them is an investment in all Anne Arundel County residents. Thank you for listening, thank you for your service, and thank you again for your past and continuing support of our library and its staff.
Hi, my name is Joanne Vaughn, and I'm a board member of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. I want to thank County Executive Pittman and Councilmember Allison Pickard for the opportunity to give testimony tonight. And I also want to ask for $2 million to be included in the county budget for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. I have 10 grandchildren, and they're all school age. And if half the money of the county's dollars is going into schools, those children cannot learn, thrive, and grow if they're hungry. And their parents cannot help them learn, thrive, and grow if their parents are worried about where the next meal is coming from. The food insecure population is now more than 66,000 in this county. That's up 40% in 2 years. And this increase is primarily among working families who either don't receive SNAP or no longer qualify for SNAP. And they have to choose between whether they're going to put food on the table, pay rent, support their children, or get health care. The Anne Arundel County Food Bank is efficient and effective and works with 77 different partners. I wasn't going to use the school bus analogy, but 4.3 million pounds of food is 4,300 elephants, or 7 football fields full of elephants. That's how much food we were able to distribute in the county last year. But the need is increasing, especially among working families. So I want to thank you for your support. I want you to think when you go home tonight, and if you're lucky enough to get a snack out of the refrigerator, think of somebody who isn't. And think of what $2 million in the county budget could do to help alleviate food insecurity in Anne Arundel County. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next we'll have Casey Cameron, Adam Palinkas, Marla Cote. Maria Cote.
Good evening, County Executive Pittman, Councilwoman Pickard. My name is Casey Cameron, the Vice President of the Anne Arundel County Professional Firefighters. I want to start tonight by saying thank you. Thank you for ensuring our department was upstaffed during last week's winter storm. Because many units were upstaffed and additional units were placed in service, residents in this county were protected, and all emergencies were handled safely despite severe weather. That decision mattered. We appreciate the recognition that independent staffing and four-person staffing is the minimum. The reality is our department remains critically understaffed. More than 350 firefighters short. The number comes directly from an independent, third-party, standards coverage study commissioned and paid for by the county. We understand that hiring 350 firefighters in a single year isn't realistic. What is realistic is taking meaningful steps forward. We are asking you to fully fund the positions requested by Chief Wolford in her budget and to commit to us to applying for the federal SAFER grant when it opens so every available funding opportunity is pursued. Over the past 7 years, progress has been made. We have moved from unit staff of 2 firefighters to a minimum of 3 on every apparatus. That is progress, but it still falls short of the national minimum standard of 4. At the same time, our paramedic units are stretched thin. We run out of paramedic units almost daily in the afternoon, meaning there are 0 left in the entire county. In closing, I'm asking you to fully fund the fire chief's budget, increasing staffing, and commit to applying to SAFER grant. We appreciate the progress so far, but now is the time to keep moving forward. Thank you.
Good evening, County Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Pickard. My name is Adam Palinkas. I'm a resident of Anne Arundel County and the Secretary-Treasurer of the Anne Arundel County Professional Firefighters. When I started my career in 2002, I wasn't looking to get rich. I just expected a fair wage. Early on, raises seemed reasonable, but to make ends meet, I went back to my old job and worked part-time. Ironically, my part-time hourly pay was higher than my full-time career pay as a firefighter. Then came the 2008 economic crash. From 2010 to 2020, our wages stagnated under contract after contract, decided by arbitration. During that time, Anne Arundel County became a stepping stone. Firefighters trained here, gained experience here, and then left for surrounding jurisdictions that paid more. We couldn't retain people, and without retention, staffing was impossible. Over the past several years, that began to change. County Executive Pittman, your administration worked to correct pay inequities that had been neglected for years. We still have work to do, but we are finally closer to the regional average instead of being at the bottom. That progress matters, because fixing staffing without fixing pay would have failed. Now the next step, staffing. An independent standards of coverage study found that Anne Arundel County Fire Department does not meet the NFPA 1710 minimum staffing. The standard is 4 firefighters per apparatus. In Anne Arundel County, the minimum is 3. Throughout my career, firefighters have figured out how to make it work financially, working extra jobs, extra shifts, and stretching themselves thin. Because when you need X amount of dollars to survive, you find a way to get to X. But public safety does not work that way. We cannot stretch staffing without consequences. We are asking you to do what firefighters do every day. Figure out a way to meet the standard. Not to exceed it, not to embellish it, but to meet it. The Standards of Coverage Report tells us that we need where we need to be. It's time to get there and properly staff the fire department. Thank you.
Hi. I want to thank County Executive Pittman, Councilwoman Pickard, and the rest of the County Council for all their investment in our county schools. I'm Maria Cote. I'm a teacher. I'm a parent of 2 AACPS students and a former AACPS student myself. Go Arundel. The increase in school funding during County Executive Pittman's terms was unprecedented, but mostly because of the extreme lack of funding in the previous executive's term. So I think saying, the school funding has gone up 43%, that's not like all our fault, right? That's beforehand. I think that's important to point out because it makes it like the schools are all of a sudden taking all this money, but it's that you're funding what should have been funded from the past. So for this reason, I'm asking you to please fund Superintendent Bedell's budget. Staffing is what is needed to make sure that AA County has the schools it deserves. Somebody else talked about the special ed teachers, and God bless them, but you couldn't pay me 1.5, 2 times what they make to do their job. They have such a caseload, and the 82 special education positions that Bedell has asked for will help decrease that caseload for each of them. The speech and language pathologist needs are actually higher than the 8 because children with those needs are higher than any other special education need right now. So those positions are definitely needed. So I want to say again, please fund the whole budget. The schools need it. The kids deserve it. And I know you can make it work. You and Trumbauer, you can get it together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next we'll have Mike Dodd, Sarah Mullen, Jennifer Sun.
I'll get started. Hello, my name is Mike Dye. I'm a resident of Annapolis. I was asked to speak on behalf of a budget proposal from the new Jewish Federation of Annapolis in the Chesapeake, which my rabbi recently joined. Among other goals, the Federation wishes to further the safety of our community. Synagogues have spent a lot of money in recent years upping their security profile, But we all know how crazy these times are and how threats aren't going away, affecting not just Jews, but other faiths and sometimes non-faith entities. As a means of softening the financial impact of security for our extended Anne Arundel community, the Federation proposes that the county government create a matching security grant program that's available for any local faith organization or nonprofit that's threatened by hate, similar to what they have in nearby jurisdictions such as Montgomery County, Prince George's County, Howard County, and the District of Columbia. Those programs set a maximum amount per award and a maximum total annual program amount, although I admit to not knowing the details of evaluating applications. I believe preliminary responses to the proposal have pointed to existing state and federal grant options. I would gently push back on that and suggest that the reason other jurisdictions have set up their own are greater speed, flexibility, and tailoring, and now reduced confidence in state and federal funding. Details of this proposal have been or should be soon forwarded to all members of the council. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you tonight.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Sell. I live in Severna Park and I'm a teacher at Annapolis Middle School. I stand here very frustrated. Year after year, I sit through these budget briefings where your staff brags about our low tax rate. And yes, in today's economy, we do need a low tax rate, but we get what we pay for, and consistently we haven't had enough money to run our budget. You also played up the fact that education takes up half of our budget, which I feel like is a strategy that you're using so that you can explain in a few months why you can't afford to fully fund the proposed AACPS budget. In particular, you keep bringing up the starting income for teachers. But teachers are only starting teachers for 1 year. After that, we began a steady march forward on a pay scale that is hardly competitive compared to our peer counties. And unfortunately for my fellow educators, you can't legislate your way out of a low salary. No amount of inadequate workforce housing bills are sufficient when you can't simply afford to live in the county in which you teach. Dr. Bedell has made clear that if AACPS does not get the funding we need, we will have to increase class sizes or cut programs. Raising class sizes is not really an option. Our class sizes are already too large. Raising them even higher is asking our underpaid educators to take on too much, and it's also asking our students to be okay with receiving less individualized attention. Cutting programs shouldn't be on the table either. It is imperative that AACPS receive the budget they need to fully fund much-needed salary increases and increase staffing to include an additional 82.2 special educators, 8 speech-language pathologists, 10 ELD teachers, 2 school counselors, 1 school psychologist, a social worker, and a PPW. In addition, our TSAs need their hourly pay increase so that we are better able to recruit and retain these positions. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Espinosa Mullen. I work at Anne Arundel County Public Library, and I am the Supervisory Unit Chapter Chair of Anne Arundel Library Workers United. I am also an Anne Arundel County resident, choosing to raise my family here. Many staff and residents will provide heartfelt testimony about the impact of library staff in the community. The library, in our collective bargaining agreement, agrees that our work is worth a 3% cost of living and 3% merit increase in FY27. I am here to address your impact when you tell us with your allocation of funds how the county values the work of library staff. 80% of library staff are county residents. We raise families here, pay taxes here, shop here, buy and rent property here, and we vote here. By funding the library's COLA and merit request, you send the message that the county's public servants can continue to work and live in Anne Arundel County. You help federal workers temporarily relying on their library staff partners' salaries. We are an amazing asset because we have a personal stake in this community. We want to create safe, clean, welcoming spaces while connecting our neighbors to county priorities like the nonprofit center or free gun locks from the health department to support community health or kindergarten readiness programs, the workforce development opportunities, the Judy centers and community school programs. We are connecting our community to all of those things. If you choose not to fund the library's COLA and merit, you send a message that you do not care if the county's public servants are able to afford living here, to raise our families here, to vote when you run for county council or county executive. You send a message that those who do the county work can live somewhere else. I implore the county council to fund the 3% COLA and 3% merit increase for library staff. Send the message that you want us working and living here. If this county is the best place for all, we hope you'll tell us that all includes us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we'll hear from John Key, Ashley Rogers, Aaron Moon.
Good evening, County Executive and Councilperson. I'm John Keene, a resident of the county, and I'm here to support both the operational and the capital budget for the Department of Recreation and Parks. But more specifically, as a board member of the Friends of Anne Arundel County Trails and as a member of the County Executive's Bicycle Advisory Commission, I'd like to advocate for continuing financial support for the development of our county trail system. I am very grateful for the 2025 opening of the WV&A Trail Bridge over the Hodgson River, which does wonderful things in terms of creating access to trail networks throughout the region for us. But I would like to encourage that both Phase 4 and Phase 3 of the South Shore Trail projects be funded and continued on schedule, and that we also try to support the Nursery Road spur of the BWI Trail. On a more general note, I'd like to encourage our Department of Public Works to work closely with the Maryland Department of Transportation and its granting agencies to expedite capital project construction, including trails in the county. This has been a continuing problem for us. I would also encourage both the current and incoming administrations and the county council to vigorously support the inclusion of a separated bicycle and pedestrian shared use path on the proposed replacement for the Chesapeake Bay bridges. That's really critical, and that connection will provide a route for two national East Coast to West Coast trails in addition to local usage. Finally, I encourage the provision of connections to community facilities when trails are designed, so people don't have to wait to finish that final 10th of a mile. So thank you very much for your consideration. I appreciate your consideration of these requests.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Rogers, and I'm the branch manager at the Glen Burnie Library, the library that serves District 2. I'm joined today by several of my coworkers. Staff at all of our locations are dedicated to supporting and empowering residents, making our libraries true places to belong. At Glen Burnie, we offer more than 40 programs every single month across all age groups, and each one has grown into its own small, thriving community. So think about what this means in real life. A teen shows up to Anime Club, and they end up finding friends that love what they love. A longtime customer wanders into Ukulele Club and rediscovers a passion for music they thought they'd lost. A family goes to one of our 5 different weekly story times and connects with others while learning and growing. These aren't just programs, they're pockets of belonging. They're safe, consistent, welcoming spaces that strengthen our residents and our community, one small group at a time. 175,000 people walked through our doors last year, 324,000 items were circulated, and our computers were used over 30,000 times. Staff assisted customers with tasks like applying for jobs, printing tax forms, formatting resumes, and filling out county resource applications. We are there for whatever is needed. responding to individual technology needs as mentioned above, or wider community needs. In December, staff put together an impromptu coat giveaway. We recently hosted a health resource fair with several community schools. This month, we are hosting Valentine's Day weddings at the branch, and we will be hosting our annual regional trade school fair later this spring. So to continue to provide the agile and responsive services and programs that our community relies on, we ask for your support of our overall library budget and to honor the recent collective bargaining agreement by funding the full merit increase and cost of living adjustments for all staff. So in closing, I want to thank you both for your continued support of our libraries. We are grateful for your commitment to the new Glen Burnie Library project, and I invite everyone here to visit us in person or online to learn more about the latest plans for our new building. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aaron Mall. I am a teacher here at Severn Run High School. I know I've spoken to Ms. Pickard and others about how proud everyone is for having built this beautiful building, and it is beautiful, and I really love teaching here. However, I think it's important for you to realize that what's going on inside of some of the classrooms here is not what you envisioned when you built this building. There are many teachers here that have class sizes of over 30. Half of my schedule has more than 30 students per class. Okay? The high mark that I heard of, one teacher has 37 students this year. If you've ever been in a classroom, you know how many kids that is, and education isn't happening as much as when you have 25 or 20. We need to be talking about how to decrease these class sizes, but the budget officer today made clear that we're kind of cruising towards a $50 million shortfall, and Dr. Bedell has signaled to what that shortfall will mean for AACPS students. As a quote from the Gazette, Bedell's team is preparing to increase class sizes, eliminate programs, and increase maximum walking distances from schools, among other strategies. I want you to think about the students that are picking their way amongst the snow and the ice, more students doing that next year, if that is what we have for our budget. This is the wrong direction for students and teachers. We deserve smaller class sizes. To make this likely, we need you to fund all of Dr. Bedell's requested budget, not $50 million short, not 20, every dime. Since I have 30 seconds left, I just want to say some of the language here tonight has kind of bothered me. I think both you, Mr. Pittman, and the budget officer indicated that, gosh, it would be nice to fund all these ideas. We have such great ideas tonight. We're not talking about some great ideas and innovations that we have. We're talking about needs. Schools are in need. The library is in need. The food bank is in need. And so I think that we need to acknowledge the fact that we need you to meet our needs. Okay, so please do what you can. Find revenue where it is. We need you to meet our needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Austin McFarland, Don Bailey, Susan Young.
Good evening. My name is Austin McFarland. I'm a senior at Chesapeake High School. I'm a four-year varsity scholar athlete for both field hockey and lacrosse, and I'm a member of our Athletic Leadership Council. Sports have helped shape my life. There are approximately 600 athletes at our school, demonstrating that athletics is an integral part of our community. I'm here tonight to advocate for a crucial addition to our high school, a field house. Our athletic programs are more than just extracurriculars. They're integral to the development of our students, fostering teamwork, discipline, and physical well-being. Moreover, storage is a major issue at Chesapeake. As you know, our county fosters equitable access and opportunity. Currently, our sports equipment is scattered across various locations, leading to disorganization and potential damage. Each sports team has rotations for upperclassmen to transport equipment and vehicles in order to both practice and participate in games. Like other high schools, adding a field house with centralized storage, ensuring equipment is properly maintained and readily accessible. This not only saves time, but also reduces the risk of injuries caused by disorganized equipment. Investing in a field house is an investment in our students' future, providing them with the resources they need to excel athletically and academically. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Good evening. I'm Don Bailey. On behalf of the Friends of Historic Johns Hopkins House, I request that you allocate funds to the FY27 budget to acquire Whiteshall, the birthplace and childhood home of the great philanthropist Johns Hopkins. Restoring and preserving Whiteshall connects us to the past and allows us to use it as a learning tool for architects, builders, students, and communities. Visiting old homes is a way to study past techniques and designs like the ones utilized when Whiteshall was built in 1780. Students and others can learn about what came before them, which helps to create a sense of community in the culture in the community. Think of all the tangible education that would be lost if Whiteshall were demolished instead of restored and preserved. We must save Whiteshall to use it as an educational tool. Just imagine the little boy who grew up here went on to do the following. He developed a strong business acumen, a successful businessman who profited from tobacco, banking, and the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. He used his wealth to support his visions for the community. He created a philanthropic vision. He bequeathed $7 million to establish a university, a hospital, and orphanage, shaping the future of healthcare and learning. He revolutionized medical education. He mandated that the hospital and medical school integrate patient care, research, and teaching. This vision created the first modern research university in America. He committed to inclusivity. His vision for the hospital included treating all the poor of this city and state of all races. He also funded an orphanage for black children who were orphaned after the Civil War. These were radical concepts for that time and era. He created abolitionist ties, believing that slavery was wrong. He was involved with abolitionist causes. He and other Quakers supported the purchase and manumission of the enslaved from states other than Maryland and brought them here to be freed. He had something to be proud of here, and we do too. It is our duty to share it with others as a proud community. Thank you.
My name is Susan Youngs, and I live in Annapolis. With the completion of the assessment report of the current Animal Services building in Millersville, the county must begin the task of locating, planning, and constructing a new shelter. Respectfully, the county has been warned for years that a new shelter is desperately needed. Time is up for hoping this problem can be patched. I want to go on record that the new facility must be state-of-the-art, and it must embed an architectural firm whose expertise is in design and construction of animal shelters. For example, ShelterPlanners.com designed animal shelters in both Virginia and North Carolina. Barks in Baltimore City and the new Prince George's County shelter in Upper Marlboro are new state-of-the-art facilities right here in Maryland. On another immediate matter, Animal Services needs an adoption and special events coordinator. This may sound frivolous, but both services are vital to the shelter's mission of getting homeless pets in safe, permanent, and loving homes. Many adopters have questions about their new pet, but don't know who to contact. Sadly, this could land an animal back at Animal Services just due to lack of communication. Personal follow-up is integral to a successful adoption. Taking adoptable animals to sponsored events away from the shelter requires coordination, but it is important and can result in many adoptions. Currently, our volunteer foster coordinator is doing her work plus trying to do this unfilled position. It is not possible and it is not fair to her and the animals. Adding this position will make a huge difference for the animals and the people who care for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's have Nicole Dvorak, Jonathan Robinson, Christine Allen.
Good evening, County Executive Pittman and Councilmember Pickard. My name is Nicole Dvorak. I was a union executive board member for the Baltimore County Public Library Union, and I advocate for public employees and public library employees and public workers across the state. This is my third year testifying at these budget town halls in support of public library workers. Last year, I submitted a Public Information Act request for the library system for the invoices from Venable, the notoriously expensive and union-busting law firm that the library system contracted with to make sure your library workers would not get the kind of first contract that they deserved. On August 7th, 2025, I emailed you, Councilmember Pickard, and the other 3 Democratic members of the council with those invoices and wrote that the library system paid Venable nearly $170,000 in less than a year. I asked if that was what any of you had hoped library admin would do with public funds, and council member, I wish I could say that you replied, but you did not. During contract negotiations, the union publicized how the library system would not agree to the stronger anti-discrimination language in the contract that staff were fighting for. To be clear, the library system used taxpayer dollars to fight against stronger anti-discrimination protections for staff. Budgets do indeed reflect values and strategy, County Executive. It should be made clear to the library system administration and board that this was an unacceptable abuse of public funds, and that the hundreds of thousands of dollars that they have spent beating up workers will not be made available to them in the next budget for that purpose, and instead will be used to financially support frontline library staff. Solidarity with the workers. Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Pickard, Mr. Pittman. My name is Jonathan Robinson. I'm the Vice President of FICOP, which represents the detention officers and corporals of our county. We appreciate the recent email announcement that came out about the safety of our county, and we're here today to highlight a critical component of the success of that, the Central Holding and Processing Center. While the expansion of our public safety partners is always appreciated, the efficiency of those expansions relies on the infrastructure behind them. The opening of the Central Holding and Processing Center in 2019 was designed to expedite the booking process after arrest, effectively acting as a force multiplier that keeps police officers on the street rather than in district stations. Despite the success of this model, we hope to address some structural gaps in the budget. Upon the facility's opening, 41 detention officers were necessary for safe operations. To this day, those positions have not been added to our staffing. This places an undue burden on our current staff who are staffing 2 facilities already. Our members have suffered through the highest vacancy rate amongst our public safety partners over the last several years, and our numbers don't come from surveys or staffing suggestions, they come from facts. Our department's leadership has worked tirelessly to hire an average of 47 new officers annually over the last 3 years, and we're still unable to fill our vacancies. This trend shows we don't have a recruitment problem, but a long-term retention crisis. We cannot sustain the county's safety goals if the back end of our local justice system is hollowed out by vacancies and exhaustion. We're asking this administration for equity and investment, and we require the same level of funding, salary competitiveness that our other public safety unions have come to enjoy, so we ensure our department can succeed, remain safe, and continue contributing to the overall safety of our county's residents. Thank you.
Hello and good evening. My name is Christine Allen, and I'm a resident of Anne Arundel County. I'd like to thank everybody who's already spoken. I support the teachers as well. Good luck. In the library and the food bank. I'm here to support the efforts to fund field houses for both Arundel and Chesapeake High School. Before this year, I was not aware that these 2 schools were the only ones in the district that did not have field houses, and I was very upset. As a former softball player myself and baseball coach for Gork, I knew I had to join the efforts to help future generations. A field house is an essential facility for a school and its surrounding community. Without one, Arundel High School is at a significant disadvantage for our students and community programs. Without a field house, we lack ADA accessible bathrooms and walkways, a designated storm-safe shelter, and appropriate team facilities for athletes and staff. The need extends far beyond high school sports. These schools' fields support band, cheer, school events, community and recreation programs, and middle school sports. All of these groups rely on the same outdoor spaces, yet they do so without the basic infrastructure that every other school in the county already has. Without this facility, we're essentially telling our young incoming students and surrounding communities that we don't care about their health and well-being. The ADA accessibility, as well as a safety issue, is also a safety issue during weather events. A field house would ensure accessibility, safety, and proper support for every student and community who use these facilities. It's an investment that strengthens the entire community. I have volunteered at Gork and other community events, and even after my children graduate, I plan on supporting my local community for many years to come. As my health deteriorates, I am also watching ADA accessible facilities, and it would be horrible to not be able to attend an event that I'm trying to volunteer and support because there's no ADA accessible walkways. I implore you to add the Fieldhouse projects to both high schools. Please show the county what we already know, that we welcome all members to our facilities with open arms and a safe space. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we'll have Lindsay Alimi, Gavin Allison, Sam Hopkins.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Alimi, and I am the new Programs Director at the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. Thank you for the opportunity to share input on the budget. We are very grateful for the county's long-standing partnership, including the $1.5 million investment this year. That support enables us to provide food at no cost to our network of community partners, ensuring they can sustain operations and serve families across the county. Since joining the food bank in November, I've gotten a glimpse into what it must feel like to serve in your roles, carrying responsibility for the well-being of thousands of residents. Last week, when the storm shut everything down, I found myself lying awake wondering how many children were at home hungry because schools were closed and parents couldn't reach a pantry. As conditions shift rapidly with rising food costs and changes to social safety nets, demand for our services continues to grow. Countywide, we are now serving more than 15,000 households each month. District 2 residents are the top recipients of food bank resources. Between July and December 2025, over 670,000 pounds of food were distributed through 20 partner locations in this district, reaching more than 112,000 individuals. According to the most recent data, approximately 60% of food insecure families in Anne Arundel County do not qualify for SNAP. For many of them, a local food pantry is the only consistent safety net. At the same time, the cost of this work continues to rise. Our food purchasing budget has increased by 27% since fiscal year 24, with an additional 4% increase anticipated next year. Reductions in federal funding are also requiring us to backfill gaps to maintain service levels. For these reasons, we respectfully request that the county increase its investments to $2 million in fiscal year 27. This funding will help ensure that every resident of this county has reliable access to nutritious food. This is not simply a social service. It is an investment in health, stability, and community well-being. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I would like to start off by thanking County Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Pickard. Hello, my name's Gavin, a junior student athlete at Chesapeake. I'm here today to talk about equity in our school system and how it directly affects our students at Chesapeake High School. More specifically, why we need a field house. We all know Chesapeake, the grit, determination, and passion of our athletes. We are proud of our school spirit and achievements from them. However, there are many disparities that we can no longer ignore. I'm advocating for fairness, opportunity, and ensuring every student has the resource they deserve to excel at Chesapeake. This includes a field house. Think about our athletic teams. They travel to games representing Chesapeake. They compete against other schools in Anne Arundel County. And what do they see? New schools with large facilities for their athletes. They see resources other schools have to support them. The spaces for training, recovery, and team building. Meanwhile, our students return and see the same outdated conditions we've always had. This isn't about wanting something nice, this is about equity. It's about ensuring our students have the same opportunities as every other school to succeed. It's about providing a safe space for our athletes to train and improve their performance. It's about creating a community and pride. A field house will provide much needed locker rooms, training facilities, and storage space, but it also creates a space for our community to come together. This is a commitment to providing our students with resources, remove barriers, and to provide opportunities. While I will not be a student at Chesapeake to take advantage of this field house, I will know that I was given the opportunity to change other athletes' careers and create success for them. This is not a criticism of other schools, but a plea for fairness. Our students deserve the same level of support, the same advantages, and the same opportunities to succeed. Let's invest in our students, Chesapeake High School, and build a field house to show our athletes and the community that we believe in them and their success.
My name is Sam Hopkins. I'm here to support the proposal that Donald Bailey just made a few minutes ago. The proposal that he has made, and also the Friends of the Historic Johns Hopkins House organization that he started. This is a proposal for a public-private partnership to make the birthplace of Johns Hopkins of great benefit, not only for this county, but also for the state and nation. This is of great personal importance to me because I am proud to be a three-great nephew of Johns Hopkins. Also, I and several of my ancestors and living relatives have had 5 homes in this county over the last 100 years and have enjoyed it living here immensely. But more important, I have had much personal and successful experience in a public-private partnership to restore and promote the use of the other historic home of Johns Hopkins. It is called Clifton Mansion. It is surrounded by Clifton Park in Baltimore City. Both have been owned by the city since 1895. And finally, for the last 30-plus years, my father and then my brothers and I have worked in this public-private partnership. The private nonprofit in this partnership is called Friends of Clifton Mansion. My father created it and my brother Henry now runs it. And this partnership has been a great success. So we are confident that what Don Bailey proposes will also be a great success. And we look forward to helping him once the county owns the home and agrees to this partnership. The timing of Don Bailey's proposal is also perfect. The value of this birthplace is far greater than ever before because the statewide, countrywide, and worldwide admiration is now enormous for all the institutions founded by Johns Hopkins. So this county is lucky to have this birthplace within its bounds and still standing. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll next have Cade Shannon, Erica Holsley, and Mike Shire.
Good evening. I'd like to begin by thanking you, Councilwoman Pickard and County Executive Pittman, for listening to our proposal. My name is Cade Shannon, and I have been a student athlete at Chesapeake for the past 4 years playing lacrosse and soccer. One thing you come to realize after playing these sports for a while, that the weather does not always like to cooperate with your plans. We at Chesapeake have had numerous instances where our storm alarm will go off, and we have to take our equipment and rush back up to the school in adverse weather conditions. This trip takes at minimum 3 minutes, which increases the likelihood of injury or accident in poor weather. Once up at the school, both the home and away team must wait in the same area, which can create more problems if said game is between rival schools or is close in score. For Rec and Parks, however, the school is not accessible, so youth athletes competing at our stadium have nowhere to go if the weather becomes poor. With the addition of a field house to our stadium, these problems disappear. Both high schoolers and youth athletes alike would have safe and easy access to cover when storm rolls in, and separate areas for both home and away teams. I cannot emphasize enough how beneficial a field house would have been in the past and could be in the future. I also know how grateful the Chesapeake community would be if you considered our proposal for funding to build Chesapeake a field house in the budget. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Erica Holsey. I'm a teacher at Brooklyn Park Middle School. I was going to come up here and tell you my teacher story, but to be honest, after hearing everybody's testimonies, it seems kind of in poor taste to tell a story about, how difficult it is to be a teacher when we're talking about people that aren't being fed, that aren't the animals that are living in these conditions. And I think that's really unfortunate that as a teacher, it feels, I'm sitting here feeling like guilty asking for a living wage that is reasonable. And I'll tell you, it's really upsetting because I'm always trying to push my friends like, hey, we need to be involved in politics. But coming here tonight, I can see why people back away from it because, to be honest with you, showing all of that data and saying stuff like, hey, we only have $60 million after the teachers use half of it, none of this is getting funded. Maybe you guys need to take a look at that tax bracket that you're bragging about, how we're in the low tax bracket. That's a problem. The other counties that are doing better have higher tax brackets. And don't get me wrong, like I know people don't like taxes, but if your necessities are not being funded and you're left with $60 million and preparing us that we're going to not get anything, basically that's being asked here for tonight, you're going to keep having pretty empty rooms because people are going to be like, why do I do this? This is pointless. I'm sitting here begging to feed the children of Anne Arundel County. Why would anybody want to keep living here or working here? So many of my friends have left teaching in Anne Arundel County because it's better on the other side. And I was thrilled to get Steve Shue out of here, and I'm thrilled that it's stepped this way, right, rather than this way. But this is crazy. If you guys are working with $60 million, we need to look at how much we're charging in taxes because there's plenty of rich people that live here, and I don't see how that money isn't being funneled down to the other people. So it sucks. I wanted to tell you my story, but it's like, what's the point of that? Like, I don't want to get a pay raise before somebody gets fed, my kids get fed. The reason I don't live on my own, the reason that as a single female with a master's plus 30, I cannot own a house on my own. At 41, moved back in with my mom in a different county because I was like, this is ridiculous. The only reason I didn't leave is because I'm at these schools doing the same thing that everybody else here does and feeding the kids. My brother sits here and makes fun of me all the time like, Erica, your budget is terrible because you keep spending money on your students. Well, how can you not? If you aren't seeing and looking into their eyes, what are you going to tell a kid they can't eat? I know all these people know that with pets and then our firefighters aren't getting, like, this is crazy. We're a hot mess express over here. We need to fix it. Otherwise, it's going to keep happening like this and nobody's going to leave.
Good evening, County Executive, Ms. Pickard. Thank you for letting me speak here tonight. I'm a little bit exhausted. My name is Mike Shire with the Fraternal Order of Police. I'm here standing tonight with my many friends in public service, especially our public safety groups, our firefighters, our corrections officers, but also our teachers, our folks in animal control, our librarians. What the last speaker said is absolutely true. We have failed to invest in our employees for far too long in this county. I spent all day down in Washington, D.C. talking to our congressional delegation today. About 6 miles of walking through the halls of Capitol Hill. Some of the conversations we had to have with our congressmen, senators were difficult about what's going on in our country, how law enforcement is being used. In Anne Arundel County, I am extraordinarily proud of our agency. I put it against any other police department in the entire country, and we will excel and go beyond what they all do. You've heard things throughout the night, throughout these budget town halls, like champagne service on a beer budget. We get what we pay for. You've been warned for years, choosing to raise a family here. Why is it that we continue to fall so far short of what we need in this county? You have told us how many police officers we need. We have failed to meet that amount. By far, 30% below that amount. We have failed to staff our fire department. Our schools are overcrowded. That's a police issue too. When our schools are not functioning, guess who the first person gets called is? It's 911. Our county deserves better. Our leaders in Congress asked, what can they do to help? They don't fund our county budget. We asked them to talk to the state leaders, to talk to our county leaders, and make sure that our our police departments are getting the resources that they need so we can staff our agencies properly. Our agency is exhausted. Our public safety agencies throughout this county are exhausted from giving you that champagne service on that beer budget. We're not going to stop, but something has to be done because we live in fear. I tell my FOP president, I'll finish with this, I feel like we've been sailing under a lucky star with our police department. You look around at surrounding counties, and I knock on wood when I say this, because they've all lost officers in recent times, and it's been decades since we've lost an Anne Arundel County police officer in the line of duty. Maybe I'm just a cynic or something like that, but, you know, how long can we go before the statistics catch up with us? It's something I live in fear with every day because being our FOP president, we're the first ones to get that call. And it's not something I want to see happen. The safety of this community, the safety of our officers depends on you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will open the floor for anyone who has not yet spoken. If you would like to present your budget request, please line up behind the microphone now. Please remember to say your name as well.
My name is Jenna Harlan, and I'm a resident of District 2. My siblings go to O'Mill, so I can say that they are very greatly appreciating the renovations there. It's a little hard to follow up after all of that. But I just wanted to say, on behalf of the library, to please fund our 3% COLA that we've agreed upon in our budget, and as well as the full budget. I know that the new building for Glen Burnie has been accounted for, but I think it's really important that it's not forgotten as it's still waiting to be built. That's all. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lauren Keslak, and I am going to ask you tonight, as Mr. Rogers said, when times are scary, we should look for the helpers. Well, I'm asking you tonight to fund the helpers. I'm here with my purple shirt to help with Anne Arundel County Animal Services. They've got a lot of requests that are really, really needed. We desperately need a new shelter. The property condition survey has shown you what we've all been screaming about for many years now. But I also would like to say that the library and the food bank desperately need funded. This time last year, a few weeks from now, it'll be my 1-year anniversary of being fired as a federal employee. I got back in, luckily, 6 months later at another agency, and then we were all furloughed. It was people like the food bank and the library and animal services that were there to help people. The library helped me print out like 30-some documents that I had to have wet signatures on and find a witness for. Thankfully, I did not need the food bank, but a lot of people did. And a lot of people that are federal employees are not lucky enough to be in the higher pay grades that you see online. A lot of them are wage grade, a lot of them are lower pay bands, and a lot of them took actually a pay cut this year with their 1% raise because the insurance went up a lot. There's a lot of families in this county, and the teachers, they support these children when things are hard at home. And, you know, the county actually provides a lot of services, you know, for keeping pets with family, for keeping the children fed, for, you know, helping you sign 30-some documents so you can get a new job, and for helping feed you when, you know, 6 months later after being unemployed unexpectedly, you are like, okay, well, I'm not getting paid for a month. So, you know, thank you for all that you've done, but we really need to fund the libraries. They really need their COLA. These people are incredible. If you've never been to the library, please come. The food banks, please give them their $2 million. Please fund our open position at Anne Arundel County's Animal Services. And for the love of God, please start looking into a new shelter building. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for the great dialogue tonight. If you have any additional budget comments to share, please email them to budget-comments@aacounty.org. If you would like to see the recording from tonight's event, you can do so on Arundel TV, their YouTube channel. Now, I'll turn it back over to our elected officials for closing remarks. We'll begin with Councilmember Pickard and then County Executive Stuart Pittman. Thank you.
Good evening. Is it on?
Well, that was
Well, I think in closing, the words, I don't have any words more important than the ones that we've heard tonight. I think y'all have represented the needs of Anne Arundel County eloquently and passionately, and I've heard all of you. I've taken copious notes, and this is really the beginning of this year's budget process. So I know the county executive and his team have a lot of work to do between now and May 1st. And I look forward to hearing more from each of you and your friends and neighbors as we have to make very difficult decisions this year like we have every year. And with that, I want to just give you my heartfelt thank you for coming out on a cold night. And please continue to engage not only with my office directly, but with the email that they've posted above here. And again, thank you.
So I do appreciate it when people say they're willing to pay more to get more, and we need to hear that. I think the public needs to hear that. We raised taxes our first year, both property and income taxes, and some folks said, "Well, you'll never get reelected." And anybody who voted for it, four Democrats voted for it, 3 others did not vote for those tax increases. I think nobody didn't get reelected for that. They said, well, we have a tax cap, property tax cap that the voters approved in Anne Arundel County, and we found a loophole to get through it by funding it, putting it in education. State law now says that if you fund education, you can go through the tax cap. We're not up to, there's also a tax cap in the state of Maryland for the income tax, which is 3.2%. We're at 2.94% for most of people's income. We got a 3.2 for money above 400,000, and we went over that 2.7 for the first 50,000. But I do ask every year the budget office. So if we did go up this amount on the taxes on income and property, what would that do for us? And if we do go up, I'll tell you right now, if we do go up to the top rate that we're allowed to go in the state of Maryland, which is 3.2%, we get basically $10 million, about $10 million for each 1/10 of 1%. So if we go from basically 294 to 3.2, we get $26 million. That helps. I mean, it doesn't get us the full funding for the school system. It gets us, like say we did $50 million more than last year, which is about the most we usually do at an increase. Okay, so we get to $74 million. It doesn't get us the other stuff. The tax cap is still in effect. There could be an effort to repeal the tax cap in Anne Arundel County, so that we get a little bit closer to what the other counties are doing. It's still, unfortunately, not a ton of money. I know that the county leaders in the counties that are at their caps, they're frustrated too. They have the same challenges that we have. I firmly believe that in this country, in this state, and in this county, there is a lot of money at the top of the economy. In fact, the disparities grow and grow and grow and grow. And, they say $50 trillion was moved from the bottom 90% of Americans to the top 1%, over since 1980. I mean, we have done that repeatedly. Lower tax rates for the top earners in America over the last 50 years, over and over and over again. And it's frustrating. And probably when I'm not county executive anymore, I think somebody suggested, I think it might have been somebody in the fire department suggested that I'll probably be here. I would otherwise be here on this side fighting for this stuff, and maybe I will. I'll be a real pain in the ass, I'll tell you that. And I might be just as passionate as the teacher who was up here, and frustrated by the way the system works. And you know, it's partly got to do with campaign finance and the way that works. It's got to do with a lot of things. And I actually believe that there's going to be a major shift in this country, that people are sort of fed up with the fact that our country has not done what most of the world, most of the wealthy democracies in the world have done, where they have universal health care and they have good free education at every level, and they have things that we don't have in this country because we haven't been willing to tax the people who have that money. So we got a long way to go to get there. It's a little frustrating we can't do it at the county level, even if we do go to the caps. We've got a lot of advocacy to do at every level. But the fact that y'all are organized, I mean, if you think about it, most of the people in this room came with a group that's advocating for something. And I'm a firm believer in organizing, and I'm also not offended when people you know, yell at me, come in with signs, the whole bit. It's difficult. I don't love it. I don't like it at all. But it comes with the job. And I've been on the other side of it, and I'll probably be on the other side of it in the future. So, yeah, we got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of injustices, and like some have said, I was really sort of pleased to. My friends from the fire department, I thank you. You were a lot kinder tonight than some of the others. I don't know if kind is the right word, but just as effective. The knees are still there, just as strong, but recognizing where we've come from. I appreciate that. And some of the teachers as well. I mean, I think all of you are, you know, you recognize that we've made some progress in this county and that we have a whole lot more to go, and you can't give up. I mean, I remember with the animal services folks, we didn't call it animal services at that point. We've created a new department. We've separated from the police. We've added positions to it. You were advocating for cat cages the first year. That's all. Probably had a few other things there. And we've moved on, and now we do have actually, done a study about doing a new facility, and I suspect that the capital budget will have the next step of that. And yeah, things take a long time when the county builds them, but they do get done eventually. So just keep up the fight, and I will ask the same questions that I ask every year, you know, of the budget office. You know, what would we get for this? What would we get for that if we tweak some numbers and talk to council members? But don't get your hopes up too high, because there ain't that much money to get even when you tweak things. So thank you, and I'm sorry it is the way like that, but thank you for advocating. And stay safe.